All right, I'm officially recording.
Cool. Hi, Mom.
Anything in, or I guess first we should look at the logs. Sorry, this won't be in the recording. You guys lost. You had 14 deaths. Their medic had 8 deaths. That's a pretty big difference. Um, you also got out healed by their medic, probably because of the death issue, and then Ubers were different as well. Um, what I think is the main cause of the disparity in deaths, I think you guys were getting mid to lasted a few rounds at the end there,
Yeah,
judging by how you lost the mid fight and these rounds were so short.
yeah, we were.
Yeah, so uh towards the end of this demo we'll take a look at that and see if there's anything we notice. Bait. Interesting that it started the recording. Alright, here we go.
Well, this was against like an AM team, by the way. This was an AM team that made the playoffs. Um, yeah,
Okay, so you guys were expected to lose.
pretty much, yeah, but
I mean,
it would have been nice to win one.
you got 3 rounds off of them, so that's pretty good. Also, I will say your microphone's a little crackly now.
Uh, is this better?
That is better, yes.
It's not any quieter.
Uh, it's a little quieter, but it's fine. It's
Okay.
I can still hear you. All right. That was a very chaotic mid. So, it looks like you guys were on the you knew that you had to rotate and like you were doing it, but the way you did it, it wasn't really together. Like half your team was going too fast, like half of them were going too slow, and you were kind of like caught in the middle going back and forth between the two groups. And then like there was probably a call to go across into them, but it just seemed like I don't know, like there wasn't like a set play that you guys had. And mid fights, like it's always going to be a set play.
Hmm. So the
Um
set play for us was just to go left, I guess. That was the only thing that was discussed.
yeah, but then like some of your players didn't come left with you. So that's kind of why it felt a little weird. And then like you turned around and started fighting them, which maybe that was the call. But then you like rotated across the point, like it was just weird. There was a lot of stuff going on, and it seemed, from my point of view at least, that what you were trying to do, you spent like a second doing it, and then it felt like there was a call to do something else. And you were constantly like switching what you were going to do. Like you were rotating, then you were going back and fighting them and not rotating. Then you were like going across the point, and then finally you ended up going into them. And
Hmm.
I'm not really sure why it worked, but it did. The only thing I would say be careful of is because it's kind of chaotic. It would have been really easy for you to get bombed by a soldier during that time. Like you were kind of looking and like moving all over the place. You weren't really watching the enemy.
So when I arrowed my soldier there, do you think he should have gone for a health pack instead?
No, I think that arrow's fine. Um, but it's kind of how you go about doing it. Like when you were walking across the point in front of the Tetris, you had like turned around to look at that guy. You need to be facing forward, make sure you're safe and across, and then turn to arrow that guy.
Hmm.
Like he could have waited another second for the arrow. All right. Overall, you won the mid and you lived, so can't complain. All right, don't get into lobby yet. Your demo is still rolling out. Your whole team needs buffs. Tell your team not to peek. Buff your teammates, buff your teammates. Don't go in, buff your teammates. No! Alright, you buffed your demo at least.
Yeah, the call at the time was to just go as quick as possible. Because we wanted to use our ad.
Notice the players that died. I don't know if that's your pocket scout, but we'll say he is. The players that died were the ones without the buffs.
Oh.
Specifically your soldiers. Um and yes, you want to go as fast as you can, but not at the expense of buffs because you still had time. Their medic had just spawned, like they weren't anywhere near getting Uber.
Yeah.
Like you only really want to go fast if you have to, which is if they're like 80% and you have to kill their med or else they're going to get Uber.
Do you think I should be healing my roamer more on the rollout?
I was thinking that actually. That part where he was kind of just waddling over to bats, you can be giving him a buff during that time.
Mm.
The thing is, you won't be doing that every rollout because roamers on this map sometimes like to go a lot faster, so they won't like always be waddling there at that time. But like if they're there, you might as well give them a buff. So it looks like you're really trying to be like, hey, let's rotate. So you're really trying to walk up this. But before you're able to walk up this, you actually have to see if you're able to. Like the reason you're this hurt is because you didn't make that check. And then you took a sticky. And like you almost took another sticky walking up there just now. You have to first make sure it's safe to walk and cross and then you can cross. But like they're meeting you now, so you have to play a little slower and safer.
Do you think it? Do you think our team should have gone forward there?
Yes, I do.
Hmm.
I don't know if I agree with the Uber there. The other team really should have had Uber at that time and been able to counter pop on you. And like if you lose the soldier, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I was kind of hitting myself for doing that in the moment, but then we won the round.
Yeah, I think you got lucky there because they weren't building well.
Yeah, just pure chance.
Mm-hmm. I think it's fine actually taking the exchange if they did have Uber because like you had better positioning than they did. But I would say it's the riskier play. Um So I would have just preferred like not taking the chance and just dropping your soldier. So right there is the case of uh I think I I think I did a Sunshine map review for you where I told you if you can, it's better to cross in front of the Tetris. But the key part of that is the if you can. There is a lot of spam going there, so that's one of their moments where you should just rotate behind the Tetris, because otherwise you get just too punished. And because you didn't do that, then you were isolated from your teammates, and they were doing a rotate mid, and they caught you.
Mm.
Like it's one of those split-second decisions where as you're walking up, you have to see like, is this getting spammed? Is it anyone looking at it? No, I can walk up it. If yes, then just walk behind the Tetris.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if their medic died or not. I wasn't paying attention to that. But if their medic lived, you should be playing Uber Disad on bats. If their medic died, then this is fine. Especially if their medic lived, make sure you don't walk forward into choke here. Right here is like the worst spot to be standing, because if you get bombed, your scout can't really do much to stop it, and you don't really have really anywhere to surf.
So, like behind the like fence that
Just
breaks up the
just stay on the tiles.
on the. Oh, you mean like next to the point?
Yeah,
Mm, gotcha.
because like you'll be able to see a bomb coming from a mile away. Don't leave that scout. Oh, what are they doing? That's unfortunate. Your scout was probably expecting to Uber back into them, which is why he played like he did, but then you like kited away from him. Just try to stick to your scout in situations like that. Like team fights in general, if your scout's going one way, you have to go with him.
Mm.
Took a spam rocket and you were like, where the fuck did I take that from?
Damn.
But you've kind of forgot about the people on the left. Like you were so focused on healing your player.
Alert. Our control point is being captured.
I think that fight would have been fine, but your team got split up during it. And you have to understand that the enemy spawners are going to be getting there faster than your spawners, because their spawners are coming from last. They only have to cross 1 point. Your spawners have to go through second and then cross mid. So it's basically like 2 points they have to cross. Oh, what? That's crazy. How'd that guy kill you?
Yeah.
I think you played that fine. It's just unfortunate that that guy was able to catch you.
Do you think I should have went into the right spawn or the left spawn? Like, I think I looked at it sort of like it was my fault because I didn't go into the right spawn. I just went like all the way to the left spawn.
I would actually say the left spawn's better. And the reason why, this might be incorrect, but this is just how I would say. I would say your heal output is pretty important in that situation. Because, like, if they kill your scouts, um, like, that's kind of just as valuable. They'll still be able to keep rolling that. And that would happen if you're not healing your scouts. I think like the one thing that could have happened is you kept watching the scout and maybe tried to dodge him a little better. Kind of like a soldier, how you always have to watch him when he's sacking on you. It's kind of the same thing with the scout just Wing at you. You can try to like break his ankles, juke him out. That scout though did kind of overchase to get you, and the other team got punished for it. And then your demo just pushed it alone. I would be expecting the other team to fight this. Don't be peeking here, because you don't really have anything to go off of. The problem with this is that your demo was dead. The other team should be looking to fight this. And with a soldier capping, you guys going forward, it just makes it easier to kill you guys. I would say just all of you should take the positioning on the point. Like, because peeking here is not really going to get you anything. It's not like you guys are going to push anyway. Not down a demo. Alright, you get a pick though, somehow. Guessing cafe, soldier battle. So you can send a sack.
Or just walk through.
Yeah, don't do that.
I don't really know what the call was there.
The thing is, like, as a soldier in that specific scenario, or like the demo on the other team, I'm expecting your team to be pressuring from choke to assist your soldier sack, right? So as the other team, I'm trying to spam the choke point to try to stop you guys from getting in. So then it's just your soldier sacking alone, and then my scouts can clean them up. So like what their demo should be doing is spamming the choke, and you walking in there is giving them just the chance to get a free kill on you or a free force. You don't need to give up all this space. You have Uber.
The control point is being captured.
After both their soldiers die, you need to get back in as soon as possible. Because what you were doing, you're baiting on purpose to make sure the soldiers don't force you. But by doing so, it's putting your team at a heal disadvantage. So that's why as soon as that guy dies, you got to get back in and be ready to take an exchange. Now that your team's getting owned by an Uber, I don't blame this. But the other team probably didn't need to use there. Oh, just use back in. Okay. Yeah, this is a good use. Oh, focus fires.
I missed it.
That doesn't matter. He moved. That's not your fault. Your scouts love to W. You could have arrowed your soldier on the point. He was calling the medic. Be careful standing on this health pack. It's really easy to get bombed here, and this is the worst place you can be standing because you'll just get bounced up into the ceiling. What happened here is you guys rotated to Valley, but your soldier and your demo, they were still on mid, or I think your demo rotated with you, maybe. But your players on mid were hurt, and like they died because of it, because you guys had heals Valley. Like if you're gonna push, just make sure everyone is healthy before you do it. That was dangerous. That soldier could have shot another rocket at you.
The control point is being contested.
Your soldier can't die here. So, okay. It needs to be clear. Are you guys holding aggressive on the choke point, or are you playing passive? You and your scout are playing passive. Your demo and the soldier that died previously, they're playing aggressive. If you're playing aggressive, or if they're playing aggressive, they need the heals to support them. Otherwise, the soldier will die. Otherwise, the demo will die, who should die eventually. But it just needs to be clearer what you're doing. I would say holding the choke, each are equally valuable, I think, in this situation. It's either like let them in and then take the exchange from the high ground, or take the exchange before they can ever get in, and like hope that since they're in a condensed box, like they'll have to flash and your Uber will be better. The problem with splitting though is that you're really making it so you're not going to be able to take an exchange at all. Like you're going to be pressured off of this space because you don't have teammates to support you, and then your teammates that are aggressive are just going to die. Crazy, your demo lived. Yeah, and now look at where you're Ubering. You are on low ground, so you gave up that high ground positioning, which is really the only reason you wanted to be up there in the first place, to be able to take the exchange from that low or that high ground. Once you back up, then it's really, you're not in a position where you can exchange. Like notice your Uber is over basically. The other team hasn't even used. Yeah, and now you just died to a soldier at the end of it because you guys like over chased from low ground. This one is just kind of scrappy. That soldier should have gotten crit heals. That's not really on you. 1 HP legend.
He died.
Unlucky.
He just died. Is that his fault for leaving?
I mean, yes. It's if he had gotten a buff at the beginning, he would have had 101 health. So I'll say his fault part came from that part of it. Holy crap, your team is hurt. Alright, I think this is Uber ad, but don't lead the charge as medic, especially when you're looking behind you. Alright, you guys need to be calling if you're getting in or, like, not. You're, like, half and half. Like, your soldier bombed there. I don't know how he lived, and you were able to rotate to him.
Here's the thing about our team. Something you gotta understand about our team is that our scouts are deaf.
In what aspect? Like,
They just like don't listen to calls or something. I don't know. All this stuff that like they could be doing better. It's like we're making the calls for them to do it, but they just don't do it.
yeah. I think then, yeah, that's tough. I think then as the medic, like, I don't know. Cut your scouts from the team. They're out.
Is that really what you think?
No. Um, it's one of those things you have to figure out why they're not doing what you tell them to. Is it a personality thing? Is it actually that in game, like, they couldn't have been there at that time because they were rolling out? And the communication problems that come from this, like, it needs to be just, like, talked through and figured out why these problems happen. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes you just gotta, like, sit people down and be like, listen to the calls. And, like, it's Newcomer, so calls are going to be missed and people aren't going to know what to do from these calls. And that's why you can say, like, hey, I think this could have been like this could have been like this. And if they still don't listen, then you're kind of just in the sad zone.
Yeah.
And that one is kind of serious. But then it just comes from the rest of your team needs to be cognizant and know that they're not going to be playing in a specific way, so they can change how they play. Like, your soldier can play slower if, like, your scout's not being able to do something.
Mm.
And, like, you can also, if it goes back to the your scouts couldn't have done something in that situation just because, like, they were rolling out, for example, make sure you tell your scouts and let them know to actually say that they can't do something, or to say how long until they are able to do something, because that is equally as important as following the call. Like, just letting people know that you're not going to be able to follow it. And I think that's something that a lot of teams, it's one of the most important things that the team can do to improve, is to just understand how your teammates play. And, like, that's why Froyotech is so good, because they've been playing with mostly the same roster for a really long time. So they all know exactly what everyone on the team is doing in every situation. So they're able to play to each other's strengths and weaknesses perfectly.
Froyotech is an enigma.
They are.
It's like, I mean, yeah, they play with a lot of the same players, but they also switch up their players so much that it's like, it just seems like, oh, the team with Banny won, you know? It's just every time, it's just the team with Banny. That's like the, he's like the common string, I guess, for the team. And like every other person in every position is like changed.
Yes, but I think something that's really good about Banny is that he's really good at telling his team what he wants them to be doing in all these situations. And that's what's putting everyone on the same page.
Hmm.
Alright, your soldier feeds, they Uber in, your demo's feeding as well. Your soldier's feeding on the right there. And now you guys are just kind of fucked. Alright, there was nothing you could have done better on that. That was literally your soldier fed at the beginning. Your demo's playing top left, so he just dies to the Uber. Your other soldier pushed into that right area, so you can't even heal him. That one's just unfortunate.
Yeah. By the way, for the next demo, it's going to be a process. It's going to be this same team that we're fighting right now, but we lost 5-0. And I want it to be an STV so that you can analyze our team's mistakes
Okay.
rather than just me.
Yeah, that works for me.
Maybe I can bring them something. Or maybe I guess you could just like
send the recording.
Yeah, send the recording or just be in the server and like be doing it with everyone if you want.
Sure. Back to this mid though. This soldier, you saw him bombed and he was above your head, but you did not look at him. And now he's landing on you. Luckily he didn't get anything, but you got to make sure to be watching for that. Alright, you saw the second soldier over here, so be aware that you could get bombed from over here. Alright, your soldier's going in. He can sack here. He can die. Don't chase him. He is going in to try to die there. You had a player capping mid. And you had one player who was dead before that, so they were rolling out, I think. So that soldier, it was like a 4v4 at that moment if you take into account the player rolling out and your guy capping mid. So you don't really have anything to push off of on that moment, so the best thing to do is just use your momentum to go for a sack here. Because you guys are trying to push, you're kind of playing into the other team's hand, and then you get like a really bad exchange. You need to be leaving.
We live? Oh, well, I live, I guess.
Really? No chance you live here.
Oh, I do.
What? How? Oh, you get a scout to escort you.
And then they just don't chase me.
Yeah, but you have to give up mid here anyway. So that push was not ideal. Buff your teammates. Alright, now you're just waiting for a sack. There it comes. Yep, you get a surf because you see him coming from a mile away, and it's pretty easy. Now, immediately rotate choke, tank your demo in the choke to spam them, and try to get a good counter sack. Oh no. So I don't know if this was because you had a ringer, or I don't know if you had a ringer in this one.
This one, our demo was a sub.
Oh, okay. Well, your soldiers, only one of them should be sacking. That's just a miscommunication. This is sketchy. The reason why it's sketchy... Whoa. Excuse me. The reason why it's sketchy is because your scouts were pushing really aggressively into spots where you can't heal them. So like just tell them to like slow down a little in that situation, I think. Flash your other scout. Alright, that was really good on your part. And you're watching that soldier. He doesn't even do anything to you. This is great. You didn't really see that scout coming, but you still managed to dodge him enough. So that was really good on your part. Be careful though. They got the forward spawners. Good arrow there. Good surf. Oh.
No.
It was so good. Until it wasn't.
NS.
Yeah. I think that was one of those moments where you probably could have afforded, you being your team, could have afforded just to slow down a little, like deny the forward spawners and then push. The only reason you ever want to go forward if you don't have mid is if you have a demo that can spawn camp them. Or
Spawn tramp.
Yeah. Spawn camp them, or like a soldier or something that will be able to block it. But you saw 2 people get through, so that's just a moment. Just slow down. This scout should be building. Alright, you could hear the other team building, so this is actually going to be slight disad, but they shouldn't know that. Or if they do know, it shouldn't be enough to push off of. They're trying it anyway. Alright. Yeah, realistically, it should only been like a 20 disad, 20 or 30. And then you back up. Alright, and I think from this point you lose all the mids and get mid to lasted for 4 rounds in a row.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
They toggled.
Yeah. Every mid so far you've been trying to go left and getting owned by spam. Let's see if this is the same case. Notice how their team is way faster to actually rotate, so they're able to get way better positioning on you guys. Like, your demo's out of the fight. He's never going to be able to get back in if their demo just shoots Valley. You are not looking at the other team, so it's really easy for like a scout or like a soldier to bomb you right now. Yeah, and you do get bombed by a soldier. And now you're just kind of fucked. So you did have a ringer demo, so this could be part of it, because demo is a really big part about Sunshine mid. But if like this was happening with your actual demo, I would tell your demo to try to spam more towards the right side and slow them down from rotating. Alright, you're kiting, this is fine. I'd probably say a heavy there, one of your scouts should have been. Why did I say it like that? One of your scouts there should have been heavy.
Yeah, I think we did one of our scouts went through this game as well, and he said that one of or not one of our scouts, it was actually one of our soldiers. He said that one of our biggest problems was our off classing. So our scouts and our soldiers, that could have been like doing that.
Well, soldiers on this mid, or this last, probably shouldn't be the ones to off class. I would say most of the time it should be your scouts. How did that guy get behind you?
Yeah, I didn't even see him.
So I think the problem with that mid was that you wanted to go into them, and the theory behind going into them is you have to like really fight them hard. What you did, you went into them, but then you backed up into your choke. Like any pressure that you had built up from your initial push going into them, you just gave it up by backing up. Like just actually commit to that fight even if you die. And like make sure, kind of like snake water, you're just beaming your like scouts across into them. And your soldiers should be creating enough space for you. Alright, it is disad. You did not kill their medic, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, there's the Uber. Losing 3 players through the Uber is not ideal. What's your demo doing on these mids? Oh, he's dead.
Dying.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a recurring theme. Your demo, I wanted to check what your demo was doing this mid because he was like low health like every time you got to mid. And this time he just died. So I don't know if your actual demo does this, but make sure your demo is aware that it's going to take a really long time for you to actually get to the mid, so he has to play it pretty passive. It's really easy for a soldier to fast roll out onto him, or like the demo to get a stick on him, and now he's 30 health and one spam rocket will kill him. It's just really easy. And now you guys are doing like a half and half, like you're fighting, trying to fight across. Both your scouts were here trying to stop them from pushing, but then like your soldiers over here, like you're trying to rotate. You actually have to decide on one. You can't play both choke and in the death corner. Now you should leave.
Oh, actually, I had another question. So that reminded me, being in the death corner right now and having to leave. So on rotational maps like Sunshine and Process and Reckoner, um, what do you do if you have to leave? Like you must leave. Like 3 or 4 of your players are dead, but you rotated all the way to the enemy's choke.
Die probably. Or depending on how long the mid has gone, play to get Uber. Like if you have a player with you, back out through their choke, like rotate into cafe, and you'll be able to use your Uber to get out through Valley. Ideally. But like, yeah, that's one of those situations where like it sucks. Just like don't prolong your life if you know that there's no way you're going to be able to escape. Because like what a lot of teams would do is see you guys go behind them and then they just walk forward. Like, what are you going to do? Back cap mid? No, they're just going to cap second. So like you have to be close to Uber in that situation. And you have to go fast. Like if you were their choke right now, I would say there's no way you're living on this mid. So just like make a call, like try to kill their medic, beam your scout, beam your soldier across, or I guess it's just your scout that's an enemy soldier. But beam your scout across and then hope for the best.
So either play to get Uber or walk into their medic?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Control point. Alert. The control point is being captured.
You can also do something where like you tell your whole team to bomb for their medic and then like you use the chaos to get out with a scout or something. But you kind of need a lot of your teammates alive to do that. All right, they have Uber. You have nothing to be fighting off of. You guys are like trying to push through choke points. Unlucky. Yeah, the reason that happened is because you guys were being greedy and trying to fight second when you had already lost it. There's no point in building here. They have 100% Uber.
So on situations in which they have full ad, you should not build.
Correct. You'd only want to build if it's like 30 disad or something.
What about if they have like a lot of players dead and we have player ad? But I guess
Yeah, that's
not
another
enough.
situation you can build.
Hmm.
Because it's like they're not going to push down 3 players, for example. Like, although if they are down like 3 or 4 players, I would say just see if you can push, get a force on them. And that's probably preferable to building. But if they're down like 2, a scout and a soldier or something, then you're probably not going to be able to get in. Like at most, you could send a counter sack. And here the Uber comes. Notice that you're only at 50, even though you're building the whole time. So that means your teammates weren't buffed. Yeah, you were only 60% Uber at the end of that.
Medic, it's calling. You got time to look into something for me?
So, okay. This is a really good moment to demonstrate something. You're trying to dodge that soldier, right? But you guys had committed to a rotate mid. So what you're doing here is actually isolating yourself and letting the other team kill you more easily. Because your team's rotating and going forward as best as they can, but you're rotating the other way in order to dodge the soldier. This is one of those moments where you should keep going forwards and then you can stay with your team. And yeah, you died because of it almost instantly. Because when both teams are doing a rotate mid, if you remember like process theory, you're trying to catch out the people that are slow to rotate. And you backing up is just making you the one that's slow to rotate. And it's also making your teammates have to delay in the death corner. which is why they all died. Because they're like, oh, well, we can't go forward because then our medic dies, so we have to stay here and like try to protect you, but there's really not much they can do there. If you had went forward, then your whole team would have been able to get to their choke and then play there. Like, if you remember what happened on the very first mid, you guys were able to get over to their choke, and then you won the mid from that. But, like, all of the mids that you've lost, you haven't even been able to get past Tetris. Either because, like, you haven't been wanting to tank damage and walk in front of the Tetris, or, like, you just haven't walked behind the Tetris at all. On this mid, sometimes you're going to have to take some damage as medic. You just have to commit to it and actually get through. Beast. Oh, win the second one. Your scout's actually delaying a long time. This is one of those moments where I'd say you could build. Because you know that it's going to take them a really long time. By the time like they get into your last, it'll be small at that point. Because they're so slow. Don't forget that they do have Uber here though. Yeah, it looks like you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's on you for just not tracking Ubers.
Yeah.
The control point is being captured.
Alright, good luck to this guy. It was a noble effort.
What happened?
He just rocket jumped in and then killed himself on the medic. Like, I don't even think anyone saw him.
It's like on last. They always do that. Like, they go in sack for their medic when we're trying to defend last with full disad.
Well, that time he was the only one alive. Like, I don't blame him for that death. It was just funny.
Yeah. Oh, that's the end of the demo.
It is, yes. Yeah, like I said,
Okay.
the end of it, you guys just got mid to lasted. And I think that's because you're not committing to the rotate. You're slowing, which is making the rest of your team have to be slow, and then you guys are just getting owned in the death corner.
So before I go, I have a couple more questions. The first question is, how do you defeat the feeling of anxiety for officials? It's like I always freeze up during officials, and I feel like I do worse than my best.
I think there's... That's a tough question. I think, like, at least sometimes, like, when I've noticed in an official that I'm getting really anxious at the halftime, like, I just get up, like, leave my computer and say, like, hey guys, like, just give me like 5 minutes or something. And I just like go, like, walk around my house, take some deep breaths, and then like maybe drink a cup of water or something. It's a lot of it's just like the mental side of things. Like, don't psych yourself out. You're going to make mistakes, but at the end of the day, like, whatever happens, like, it happens, you know?
Yeah. So, another question. Oh, this one's about clear cut. So on clear cut, if you take the bunker position and they don't four-man, how do you get out of that position? Would it be good to take the back exit? All right, so I'm talking about like from a team perspective here. How do you get out of that position? It seems like whenever we do it on clear cut, we always just get like stuck there. and we take so much spam and die. So would it be good to take the back exit and then like Uber your soldiers immediately because it's like likely that the enemy team is going to take the point, or would it be good for them to like just sack for the enemy demo instead and just keep the Uber?
I would say, yes, you should take the back exit, but I would say Ubering onto them's not the only option. Um, you have to think about what the other team is trying to accomplish when they're not sacking for you. They're trying to get point pressure to make you like come out, use your Uber, in which case they accomplish the same thing as a sack. Or they're trying to kill the people that are not in the bunker. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, but it's like, man, it just seems so hard to like be able to know that in like the moment.
So I can tell you something that'll help you recognize what you should be doing. And this is not something you will be able to make the call as on medic, really. It's looking for the positioning of their medic. If their medic is committed and you can Uber onto him, that's a call that your teammates need to be making. Um, if their medic is like back all the way by saw or like house, I don't know what you call it, then you're probably not going to be able to get him with an Uber. So at that point, if you did Uber, then they accomplished their 4-man.
Hmm.
What you can do as an in between is just go backdoor and then just take like a spam fight. And if you still have ad and they're not respecting it, you can go into them. If their medic is baiting, then you can just spam them off of the point because they won't have heals.
Hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like end of the day, it's just figuring out where their medic is. Is their medic baiting or is their medic like actually
Hmm.
committing to the fight?
Yeah, I'll have to tell my main caller about that.
Mm-hmm.
So last thing, I think this is the last thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the last thing. So this is actually kind of materialistic, but have you ever seen the Team Fortress TV stream within the past like 2 years?
Yes.
So Team Fortress TV, whenever they cast, they have these crosshairs that are they're like the default crosshairs, except they just have like the slightest outline and it changes how they look like so visually. Do you know where I can get those?
Um. Oh.
Team Fort.
Yeah.
Tio looking to maybe
try to do something,
Like these?
and maybe even just do things a little
The
bit
stream's
differently.
pretty hard
And
to
it's really working out for them. Like they get
see, but yeah, I
rewarded
think
I
right
think
away
these
with
are
a
them.
big Uber.
yeah.
I do know where you can get those, but I don't remember right now. So I will have to get back to you on that one. Um, I think there's customization.
Oh
There's
shoot,
like,
it's 8 o'clock right now.
oh yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know exactly where this is, but I will have to find it and get back to you.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's not too urgent. I mean, I can wait a little bit, but yeah,